guys, Clark of the Geek here. Welcome back to a brand new video. And today I'm doing a sequel to one of my older videos, which is the Doctor Who Guilty Pleasures. I'm doing a second one where, like in that video, I'm going to take a look at 2 stories from the new series, 2 stories from the classic series, and discuss why I think they're some of my guilty pleasure Doctor Who stories. These stories aren't necessarily great, or I can accept that they're objectively not good, but I do enjoy them to an extent. So let's get on with the list. So over the years, there's been various Doctor Who stories which have been deemed the worst episode ever. You know, episodes like Warriors of the Deep, Twin Dilemma, Time and the Rani, Love and Monsters, Fear Her, In the Forest of the Night, Hell Bent, and then recently with Orphan 55 being called the worst Doctor Who story ever. Well, back in the 60s, the original holder of that title was the Gunfighters, a pure historical set in the Wild West. Now, I can understand Doctor Who wanted to do a Wild West pure historical because in the 60s or 1966, you know, Western films were still popular. So, you know, it made sense to want to do them. The thing is, though, the budget was a lot lower for poor old Doctor Who back in the 60s. I mean, the American accents are awful. The songs in it are horrendous. And trying to fit a Western setting in this little teeny tiny studio in the BBC, it doesn't look remotely convincing. But it's really fun, and you have a good time watching it. Like, you can tell that William Hartnell is having a blast here, because I think he did want a Wild West sort of historical episode. So, and that energy from not just him, but most of the cast members sort of do make up for the shortcomings, because the energy sort of coming across, and you can have a good time with it. And there's some really, really funny laugh out loud moments in this. Some intentional, some not, but you just have a good time with it. And if you want to rewatch it, just don't take it seriously in the slightest. So Nightmare of Eden is a story from the late Tom Baker era, around like his 6th season, and this is pretty infamous for being not well loved. But to be honest, the plot is actually really good. It's about like this spaceship collision in space, and the 2 people from the different spaceships are harvesting these creatures for drugs, and they're smuggling these drugs through these collisions. Now, if I told you that plot, you'd think, that sounds like a really dark Doctor Who story. It's not. It's the goofiest thing ever, and I love it to bits. Well, no, I don't love it to bits, but because I can accept it's objectively pretty poor. But the main reason people don't like this story is because of the mandrels. They are shockingly bad. And like on the DVD cover, you can literally see underneath the mouth, there's like a human face. You see like the humans, the operators. They're so bad. They're not threatening in the slightest. They're just really cute, cuddly like bears. That's basically what they are. Not threatening monsters at all. Also, some of the acting's quite off. Like, you get some sort of serious acting from some of the cast members, and then there's a few cast members who've, like, there's this one cast member who's got like this really weird sort of like German and French accent. Like, it's really weird. I think they took the fact that it was the future, so it's gonna be like multicultural and whatnot, but they took that pretty literally, and it does come off as a bit corny, to be honest. But the core idea of the story and the ideas around it are very interesting. So I think if the budget was higher and the acting was a bit better, this could have been, honestly, a favourite. Not like Genesis of the Daleks level, but it could have been one which was, you know, decently liked, I think. Sailaja, a Matt Smith story, and it's the penultimate story of Series 5 before the big 2-part finale, you know, Pandora opens in the Big Bang. And considering how mad and insane that finale is, I can understand wanting to go for a smaller scale story with this. And this is essentially Doctor Who done as a sitcom. And you know what? I'm down for that approach. You know, I do really like sitcoms. And it's quite a relatable story, you know, having it set in modern day Earth. I quite like them stories. And yeah, the comedy is actually really funny. Matt Smith and James Corden play off each other excellently. And there's some really good, sometimes even laugh out loud moments of humour in this. Now, I know it's kind of dumb, but personally I just enjoy it for what it is, and it's a nice sort of fluff episode, just one that you can just kick back and relax and watch, and not have to think too hard about. And finally, we have the return of Dr. Mysterio, the 2016 Christmas special. And as you might know, this was the first Doctor Who story I watched on broadcast, so it does have a special place in my heart. But this episode tends to get a lot of hate, and I don't know why, because all it tries to set out to be is a simple sort of superhero parody blockbuster sort of story. And that's exactly what it is. Yeah, it's not the most complex characters, but there are a lot of superhero movies which don't really have complex characters or in really deep narratives. You know, this just wants to be some light entertainment for the Christmas season. And that's exactly what it is. I also really like how this episode doesn't rely on it being Christmas as it's sort of as a crutch. It's more to do with superheroes, because a lot of the time at Christmas season you will get films like the Christopher Reeve Superman films on telly a lot. Now, the character of the Ghost, who is the superhero in the story, you know, he's got very basic sort of character, and the villains are pretty bland, and I've forgot most of them. But it is supposed to be sort of a superhero parody sort of special, and that's something I like. And the Doctor's final scene at the end, when he's like, everything ends, that's always sad, but everything begins again too, and that's happy, was a great final note to end this story, and a great way to get me into Doctor Who. And that's the end of the video. Hope you enjoyed it. What are some of your guilty pleasure stories? Let me know in the comments below. And like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. And this is Clack of the Geek, signing out. Ta-ra.